I see an old lady walking down the street, I grab her by the throat and I choke slam her and I'm the bad guy. Wrong. I'm not the bad guy because that lady just murdered my entire family and is on the way to murder another family. See, this is why all advice is bad advice. I'm going to explain 2 different reasons and then also explain how this is going to help you make money. So it starts off with the fact that most people do not, I repeat, do not want what you want. Most people do not want the same thing that you want, and most advice is given with the context that somebody else wants the same thing as you. And a lot of people don't want the same thing. For example, I'll be very clear. My goal right now is to build a value-driven business that helps people learn to make money online, and through that business, provide value to make myself a multimillionaire before the age of 25. What I want is very specific. So if somebody tries to give me specific advice on how to play the piano, or let's be more specific, let's say somebody tells me I work too hard, I work too much on my business, but that person wants to become a professional piano player. These things don't make any sense. Now, a lot of people give advice in this exact way, and I know that's an extreme example, but think about the things that people tell you. They say, hey, you should do this. Hey, you shouldn't do this. Hey, you work too much. Hey, you're on your phone too much. Hey, you don't hang out with your family enough. Things like this, it all depends on context because you don't know what other people want or what you want. The second reason all advice is bad advice is aligned incentives. Nobody has 100% aligned incentives for you other than you. Think about this. If somebody tells you you should or shouldn't do something, or they try to give you advice, think about the incentive behind it. I'll be very clear. My incentive is to help you with hopefully good knowledge on the internet, education, so that eventually you trust me by using this advice and you think, oh, this guy's kind of smart. And then later on, you either continue to watch my free content or buy the things that I end up selling. That is my incentive, transparently. A lot of people, for some reason, don't ever say their incentive because they're scared that people will hate them. If you hate me, okay. But I think it's very bad because most people never say their incentives. So when they give you advice, they're giving it to you based on their incentive. Once again, I'll give you another example. Let's say you tell your parents, I don't want to go to college, right? You tell your parents, I don't think school is for me. It's not the right thing. But your mom, Brittany, okay, has a friend named Jennifer, and Jennifer makes fun of Brittany because you're not doing well in school. This happens. Like, this is a real case scenario. So your mom, in the back of her head, Brittany, is thinking that she should send you to college, but it's not only for your goodwill, but it's also because she's tired of Jennifer getting on her about it. Now, think about the fact that that's only one thing. Think about all the different incentives that can come from this. There are many, many, many different incentives that are not aligned with your incentive. The actual reason you should or shouldn't go to college is for your own best interest. You are the only person who has 100% aligned incentives. The third reason that all advice is bad advice is because you are the only person with 100% context in your own life. Once again, this video sounds very contradictory, and I'll make a whole different video on how contradictions actually are what make the world go round. But I don't want to sound like some crazy person here, but the point I'm trying to make for point number 3 is that you're the only person with 100% context. So I could make a 4-hour-long video right now and try to provide as much context as possible. The more context given about a scenario, the better advice can be given. Now, let me be very clear here when I say this. When I say all advice is bad advice, there's no such thing as 100% bad and 100% good. There is a spectrum. And the way I see it, the farther you are on the right, the good advice, it usually comes from this variable, context. The more context you have, the better advice people, not the better advice, but the more aligned advice people give. So once again, steps 1 or the first 2 things that I mentioned still apply. So even if somebody has 100% context of your situation, which by the way isn't possible, well, it's still not going to work because you don't know if they have aligned incentives and you don't know if they want what you want. Okay. So the third thing I'm trying to say here is that good advice and bad advice is also on a spectrum. When I say this though, I'm saying most of the advice that people give or get is on the left side of the spectrum, closer to the bad side. But once again, it all really depends. So the main point here is you should never blindly listen to anyone ever at any time, ever, unless you are willing to take that risk, because there are scenarios where you can listen to exactly what somebody says and it works, but you are taking a risk. If you want to decrease risk of getting an outcome, well, in my opinion, the best way to do that is to only take advice from yourself. So the best way to take advice isn't taking advice. It's hearing what people say. It's actually a formula. Hearing what people say, filtering that advice, so filtration system, and then giving your own opinion. This sounds like common knowledge, but common knowledge is not common practice. I can tell you to do this, and until you know the 3 things that I mentioned before, you might not do it, and that's why this video was valuable. you now know that you should filter all the advice given to you and don't let it sway your actions too much, because if you want to become successful, actions are all that really matter. So if you want to actually get a good outcome out of advice, always filter it. And I recommend filtering it more so than you do right now, because I would argue most of the time, the more filtering you do of advice, the better outcomes you get, because the better actions are taken. Nobody has 100% aligned incentives for you other than you. Nobody has 100% context other than you. Not everybody wants the same thing that you want. What does this mean? Come up with your own opinions. Common knowledge is not always common practice. Also, if you want to learn how to make money online, I have a video on that, the laziest ways to make money online in 2025, linked in the description. If this video helped, let me know.